Hello, hello, hello. I'm Cruellica Kain and welcome to Pop Culture Therapy. Today I plan on talking about a topic that is super incredibly toxic and severely depressing at the same time. I want to talk to you all about today Harry Potter. And specifically how the franchise is very toxic right now. The fandom can be very toxic right now. And the creator of Harry Potter is incredibly toxic right now. So for anyone not in the know, J.K. Rowling, who created the Harry Potter series many, many moons ago, has been for the last, I would say, a couple of years. Most assuredly, it's been very extreme recently, but for the last couple of years has been very vocal about her opinions of trans women. And basically her opinion of the fact that, in her belief, trans women are not technically women. I have a huge frustration with that personally, as a member of the queer community, as being bisexual, as a member of humanity, and just a regular person. I don't believe one person should have the right to use their platform to talk about people that are already in a very difficult situation and put them in an even greater difficult situation because of the platform they lead. So I think a lot of this conversation has come up about trans women specifically, which is not to discount the struggles of trans men, because both are in ridiculous situations. But for trans women, there's been a lot of talk over the last few years, especially for school-aged trans women in high school or college, that they transitioned and they somehow have a greater advantage than cis women when it comes to sports. And I remember an article and a news report a few years ago about a trans woman who was on the wrestling team who was very successful in what she was doing for school wrestling. And there was a lot of conversation about pulling her out because of the fact that she's trans. And that because of where she came from, so to speak, it's a very delicate conversation, but because of extenuating circumstances, that she had a stronger advantage because of old biology. I think that is a very archaic way of looking at it. I don't believe cis or trans men and women have an advantage one way or another because of anything biological, especially for trans women when it comes to sports or anything physical. So I think that one is a very antiquated philosophy. And then I know from some of Rowling's comments, she also made the comment about how trans women cannot understand biological women because of what they physically deal with when it comes to the hormones for menstruation and things like that. And that, again, not every single woman, cis woman, has a period or anything like that. And I'm not going to get into too deep of it because that's not the purpose of this video. But because of that, the Harry Potter franchise has been in turmoil because, well, one, many of the actors and actresses from the films have spoken out against Rowling for her very archaic and toxic beliefs. Others have said, well, if that's what she believes, that's what she believes. We should not get involved in it. And the fans themselves have been hurt, which I can absolutely appreciate. Many of them have gone to extreme circumstances of getting rid of all of their Harry Potter memorabilia, merchandise, books, movies, what have you. And then you do have those fans that, excluding what Rowling said, for varying reasons, still love Harry Potter. It's a part of what made them feel heard, empowered, strengthened within a franchise. And so you have this balancing act of a franchise and a fandom that is increasingly toxic on both sides. And I will admit, I still have the books I have from Harry Potter. I still have the movies. To be fair, the reason why I have the book collection is because it was one of the presents from one of our early Christmases together as a couple here in Colorado that Kaiju had gotten me the full book set. We finally were able to afford fun stuff when we moved to Colorado, and he got this for me. So the set actually has a lot of nostalgia for me. The movies, we started watching those when we began dating, so same thing, a lot of nostalgia. But I personally will say that I will not go out of my way to buy other Harry Potter merchandise because of my beliefs and something that J.K. Rowling has recently said, that if people are continuing to buy the Harry Potter merchandise, it is just proving that they agree with my thoughts. And that's where it makes me very sad. And that's why I want to talk about the hate we bring. So recently there has been a new Harry Potter game that has been released out to the public for fans to play. Apparently, in watching a review about the game, and I was watching it since somebody else was playing it, I had the opportunity to hear good and bad about the game itself. But I come to find out that a lot of people are giving the game negative reviews, spoiling elements of the game story-wise, publicly, where anybody can see it, and taking away any of the enjoyment that others may have. And while I can understand your anger at J.K. Rowling, because I have the exact same anger, if there are people out there who need this for their own healing, their own mental health, we can't take it away from them. We can't subjugate people to the point where if they disagree or they continue to do something you disagree with, that we have to bully them or make their lives a living hell for the most part. And I'm not going to get preachy because that's really not the point of it. But I think it's important to think as we look at Harry Potter as an example, because we should all know for a fact this is going to happen again. And it's sad to say, but if it happened with a franchise like Harry Potter, we already know terrible things about H.P. Lovecraft, same thing with Lewis C. Carroll, and we continue to love their books and they're cherished for all the world, no matter how terrible of a human being each of those authors are. So I think we need to breathe. And we need to think about the hate that we're giving to people who are angry about what Rowling said, because I think their anger is justified. It's my anger too. I don't believe anybody should be belittled for their sexuality, their gender, how they started their lives, or how they continue their lives. That is a personal choice that everybody has the right to make. And I think that for fans that were hurt completely about the franchise and have walked away, that have given up all of their Harry Potter memorabilia, that have decided not to continue their love for the franchise, they're very strong to do so, and I respect them for it. For those individuals that, no matter how terrible what Rowling did, they still love the books and the movies for what they are. They don't like what Rowling did, but they love the books for what they brought to them. And they like the games for the exact same reason. We can't take that away from them either. We all have something that helps us heal from our day-to-day struggles, or helps us heal continuously from what we may have experienced in the past. And having known a number of trans men and women who have loved the Harry Potter series for what it gave to them, because they did feel different and have this world built not for them, but for them to enjoy, and then have the creator say, well, you don't matter. I stand with them. At the end of the day, I will always stand with the trans men and women. But I will not stand for anyone who threatens somebody for still wanting to read the Harry Potter books. I will not stand for anyone who threatens anyone who goes to a Harry Potter convention. I won't stand for anyone who threatens the voice actors or the game creators for the Harry Potter game. I've heard so much on Twitter, which I know Twitter is a toxic hellhole, so it's not surprising. But for so many people on Twitter to threaten these men and women for doing their jobs, I can't stand for that. And yes, it frustrates me that they did this job, but they have to feed their families. They have to make sure they pay their rent. So am I going to tell them that they can't pay their rent? That they can't live and care for their families because they're working on a game that the original creator, who really doesn't have much to do with the franchise any longer, is a complete horrible person? I have my opinions, but at the end of it all, I want people to feel empowered to make a decision that helps them. And if that means walking away or not continuing to read the books, because in all honesty, I keep the items. I have not watched or read anything of Harry Potter in years. I keep them more for nostalgia, but they're not something I go out of my way to read or watch or anything like that. But I think we just need to remember to breathe. It's horrible what Rowling has said. It is horrible that she feels unwilling at the same time to even talk to a trans woman or a trans person. Trans men can share just as impactful of a story as trans women. if she would talk to these individuals and learn from them, I hope she could become a bigger person. But with her doubling down, I don't see it happening. What I want from everyone who listens to this podcast or watches this video, or just in general, is to remember at the end of the day to love yourself. It doesn't matter what some random celebrity says online about a blanket announcement of an entire group of people. It doesn't matter what asshole down the street may say about you, be it if you are trans, if you're cis, if you're gay, straight, bi, lesbian, whatever you may be at the end of the day, or pansexual, whatever you are at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about you. And I know that's easy to say, because those voices in your head, sometimes they stick and stay with you forever, but you always just have to fight them. And I hope at the end of the day, you fight them to stay strong for yourself. And if you still love the Harry Potter franchise, there's nothing wrong with that. If you now disavow the Harry Potter franchise, there is nothing wrong with that either. Just do you. And stay out of the drama. Except for when you watch my stuff on YouTube or listen to any podcast. Then you can listen to the drama. But other than that, ignore the drama. It's not that important. Well, with that said, there's not much really I can talk about this topic without getting preachy. And I don't think y'all want to listen to that. So with that said, thank you and have a great night. Bye!